Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're looking at a band I have had numerous... I've had this band requested to me so many times and I've never actually managed to get around to it, so I finally decided I'm going to get around to it now. I'm looking at Band-Maid. I've never heard of them before except for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recommendations I've had for this band. So I had to do a little bit of research into them, and it turns out Band-Maid is a Japanese rock band formed in July 2013. Singer and guitarist Miku Kobato, formerly an employee of a Japanese maid cafe, envisioned forming a band that juxtaposed the maid image with rock music. Kobato recruited guitarist Kanami Tono after an internet search. Tono had performed as a singer and songwriter and suggested her occasional backing drummer Akane Hirose for the band. Hirose in turn suggested bassist Misa, with whom she had attended music school. On July 24th, 2013, they had their first live performance at the PP audition held at Osaka Deep, as a quartet with Kobato on vocals. The band then decided to recruit an additional lead singer and selected Seiki Atsumi during auditions. Their first performance as a five-piece was at the P Festival at Shibuya AX on July 22nd, 2013. So there you go. Quite an interesting way of making a band there, isn't there? It's quite interesting. So they're a Japanese rock band. I'm not unfamiliar with Japanese music. I do have a lot of Japanese metal in my music collection. I have some Japanese rock as well, so I'm kind of familiar with it. I've also heard the likes of baby metal, so there's a chance that this might be similar to that. I'm not sure. Now I'm going to be looking at a track called Afterlife, which as far as I'm aware is a very, very recent track of theirs. I do have a translation of the lyrics, but I don't know how accurate they're going to be. So we'll just have to go along with what we've got and hope for the best. So yeah, I'm going to jump into this track now, see what we've got. So we've got Band-Maid, Afterlife. Let's have a look.
Melody
Right. Well, that was Afterlife by Band-Maid. Well, I can sort of say it was pretty much what I was expecting, but at the same time, it was quite different and interesting as well. Very high energy, very fast, very interesting. It says they're a rock band. They're very, very heavy. I would have categorized that more as metal than rock musically. But then vocally, that probably what pulls it back into rock. Very, very talented individuals. They're all very, very good at what they do, clearly. And it's a very catchy piece of music. And video has got the sort of silliness you sort of come to expect from these I'm not going to say gimmicky bands, but from these sorts of bands. I mean, you've got things like baby metal, they can be a little bit quirky, a little bit silly. And again, with that video, you've got the three maids trashing a room, and then in walks a janitor, and then he starts going all silly. And, it's quite an entertaining and quite silly video. Like I said, very, very. I don't know if it's something I could listen to a lot of. I've got nothing against it. It was decent. It was good, but I don't know if I could listen to a lot of it. Now, as I said, I got lyrics here, but I'm not sure about the translation. So, if it's wrong, don't blame me. This is just I spent ages trying to find this translation, and it was bloody hard. So, I can't guarantee that this is accurate. And it goes. Which way to go? I wonder, not yet. I wonder, not yet. I'm fed up. It's a bad dream, isn't it? Lost in dizziness. Waste of time. Waste of time. Merry-go-round once every 3 seconds. La 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 la. Hey, where to go, hey? Where to go, hey? Where to go, hey? Ally, enemy, just go to the game you want to win. Woo 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 woo, if possible, in the afterlife. Love is love. What can I do? The name is not important. A joke that spits out any ideal. If it's a dream, wake up. But love or love, I can't express it anymore. I'm wondering whether to bet with the real intention. It's probably like this my life. Pride face to face. I wonder, not yet. I wonder, not yet. I'm fed up. There's nothing left, right? Waste of time, waste of time. Gaze that rubs against each other every 5 seconds. La 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 la. Hey, 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 no matter where you go. Ally, enemy, destroy all the personality that doesn't exist. Woo woo, woo woo. If it comes true in the afterlife, love is love, what can I do? The name is not important. A joke that spits out any ideal. If it's a dream, wake up. But love or love, I can't express it anymore. The real intention is mixed, and I am wondering whether to bet. It's annoying, like this my life. You just wait, she doesn't want to see, she doesn't have to be special. Spring is gone, spring is gone. Hey please, woo woo, woo woo woo. Make me laugh in the afterlife. Love is love, what can I do? The name is not important. Any ideal is a joke to spit out. Don't say you love me, but love or love, I can't express it anymore. The real intention is mixed, and I am wondering whether to bet. It's annoying, like this, my life. So, that's the best translation I could find, and a few bits of it don't really make much sense, so I'm guessing it's not 100% accurate. But like I said, that's the best I could find, and until it comes to such time when I can actually read kanji and understand it. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid. So I can't really pick up any meaning from it. Like I said, very catchy, very entertaining piece of music, very entertaining and catchy video. I'll have to check out some of their other stuff because, like I said, I've been suggested this band on numerous occasions. I've had numerous suggestions of songs, so I'm going to have to go back and have a look at some of those actual track suggestions. And maybe look at some of their older stuff because, like I said, I think this is a very recent track. I think this is only like a week or so old. So I'll have to go back and look at some of their older stuff, some of the ones that have been suggested over the time I've been doing this, because I think this band was suggested to me before I even did baby metal, or it might have been suggested because I did Baby Metal. I can't remember exactly. So, this has been sort of floating around on the suggestions for quite some time, but I've never managed to get around to it until now. So yeah, I'll have to have a look at some of their other stuff. Like I said, it was entertaining. It was good. It was very well performed. I'm just not sure if it's something I could listen to a lot of. I could quite happily sit there and listen to it in the background, but I don't know. Like I said, this is the only track I've heard of theirs, and I've always said I won't judge a band just by one track of theirs. So I'm going to have a look at some of their other stuff. But like I said, very fast, very heavy, and very entertaining. So yeah, I'm not sure what else I can say to that because I keep repeating myself. So I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody has got a suggestion they'd like to suggest, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would of course be a great help to me, since all of the content that I create gets demonetized immediately. So all this content I'm creating, I make absolutely nothing from it. So that's a little bit frustrating, because the content from all the proceeds go directly to the band, even though they only pay like 1/3 of, even though they're only 1/3 of the video, if that, and the rest of the content, doesn't matter, So yeah, there is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that. It's limited to once a month, and that's just to give the people who make suggestions through more regular means, such as YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram comments, a fair chance to get their tracks looked at. Otherwise, they'll never get a look in. And if you do happen to suggest tracks through those more regular means, do know that it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it'll get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, I'm afraid. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture. And it's something I believe in very, very strongly, and it is something that gets very widely ignored and sort of brushed under the carpet, and pretending it doesn't happen, pretending it doesn't exist. And that really needs to change, because every single day all around the world, hundreds of thousands of people from the alternative community are getting violently attacked just because of their taste in music. And we're not talking about stupid little things like getting names shouted at them, or getting shoulder rammed as they walk down the street. No, we're talking about real violent crimes where people are getting brutally assaulted, sometimes hospitalized with broken limbs, and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries just because of their taste in music. And this sort of thing, it's been going on for decades. It's been going on longer than I've been alive, and it's something that really needs to change. Because every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, etc. We hear about these every single day. From the most heinous and violent of these crimes, where someone is murdered because of the color of their skin, their sexual identity, or their religious beliefs, down to the most petty and pathetic of these crimes, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of color are having a picnic in a public space. We hear every facet of these crimes every single day on every media platform you could possibly imagine. But we never hear about these people from the alternative community who are getting violently attacked just because of their taste in music. The last time there was any widespread talk about this was 13, 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally attacked by a group of 5 or 6 people who kicked them, punched them, knocked them to the ground, and stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a little bit longer, but he thankfully survived. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman, she was 20 years old and was beaten to death by a group of people just because they didn't like the fact that she listened to alternative music and wore alternative clothing. And, when this happened, this was all over the news, as it rightly should have been. And, as it would do after a couple of weeks, a couple of months, it sort of faded away, as all things do. But in the 13 to 14 years since that's happened, we've not heard a single similar thing. But in that time frame, there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar cases of what happened to Sophie Lancaster. But the difference is no one has died. And that is unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before we shine a light on this, before we start talking about this, before something gets done. That's not how it works. We shouldn't have to wait for death before we take action against this sort of thing. That's unacceptable. We hear all these other hate crimes all the time, even the most petty and pathetic of them. But we don't hear anything about someone who's getting beaten to within an inch of their life just because of their taste in music. Just a couple of years ago, a young woman in Scotland was running a charity gig, and at one point she had to go home for whatever reason, and it was a 5-minute walk from the venue. She was going to go back to her home, then back to the venue. In the time between leaving the venue and getting to her home, a 5-minute walk, she was attacked twice by the same group of people. It's always a group of people, because these people are inherently cowards and they think that they're clever. They think they're smart, showing off in front of all their mates, beating up on one goth when there's 5 or 6 of them. Anyway, they attacked her twice, beat her, punched her, kicked her, knocked her to the ground. Exactly the same sort of thing that happened to Sophie Lancaster. But thankfully, a passing taxi driver put an end to the attack. He didn't stop to see if she was okay. She didn't get any help until she went back to the venue where her friends were. But had that taxi driver not passed by, that young woman could have easily have been beaten to death, just like Sophie Lancaster, in the middle of the street. This wasn't in the news. I didn't hear a goddamn thing about it, and I live 4 miles from Scotland. I didn't hear a thing about it. I didn't hear anything about it until a friend of mine told me about it. Why wasn't this sort of thing in the news? I mean, this young woman was beaten black and blue. She was violently assaulted twice by a group of people, and this wasn't in the news. Why not? That's unacceptable. But, we hear about all these other things. Just because she listens to alternative music, does that make her not worthy of justice? Does that make it not newsworthy, the fact that someone has been beaten brutally in the middle of the street for something so simple and petty as their taste in music? You don't beat someone to death because they like different films or, different TV shows or different flavoured crisps or different flavoured ice creams to you. So why would you do the same to someone because their taste in music? It's unacceptable, and it needs to stop, because if we carry on ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before someone else loses their life. And that we can't allow that to happen. It's something we cannot allow to ever happen again. It should never have happened in the first place. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening, and make people realise that it is as big of a problem as it is. Because people at the moment are just sort of brushing it aside as a non-issue. They think it's not important. They don't think it's that big of a problem. But this happens all the time. And it needs to stop. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, or maybe even that one, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff on their website that you can have a look at. But, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we bring more recognition to the fact that this sort of thing is happening, the sooner we start taking action against this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.